Question on standard costing. AY Nigeria Limited specializes in the manufacture of a single product. The following information relates to the company's budget for a given month. Budgeted production quantity 144,000 units. Dollar per unit. Direct material 0.5 kg at $1,440 per kg, costing $720. Direct labor 30 minutes at $1,920 per hour, costing $960 per unit. Variable overhead $36 million. Fixed overhead $18 million. Production overhead is absorbed on the basis of direct labor hour. Actual results achieved during May 2020 are as follows. Production 156,000 units. Direct material purchased 96,000 kg, costing 105,600,000. Direct labor hour worked 96,000 hours, costing $480 million. Variable overhead $33,600,000. Fixed overhead $21,600,000. Required. Compute 1. Variable overhead expenditure variance. 2. Variable overhead efficiency variance. 3. Total variable overhead cost variance. Formula A. 1. Variable overhead expenditure variance is equal to actual variable overhead minus actual labor hour multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate. 2. Variable overhead efficiency variance. Actual labor hour multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate minus standard labor hour multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate. Standard labor hour for production. Standard hour for production multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate. 3. Total variable overhead cost variance. And that is total variable overhead cost variance is equal to variable overhead expenditure variance minus variable overhead efficiency variance. Note, VOR, the full meaning of it is variable overhead absorption rate. The variable overhead absorption rate is calculated with this formula: budgeted variable overhead divided by budgeted labor hour. Budgeted labor hour. Now solution. In the first video and second videos of this series, I always give tips, and I'll give it here also for easy calculation of the solution. Tip number 1 is that standard and natural aspect of the question. You find out that there is a budgeted aspect of the question, and there is also an actual aspect of the question. For instance, in this question, the question says the following information relates to the company budget for a given month. That is, from this place to here is what is budgeted or standard information regarding the company's production or activities. Then Another one say actual results achieved during May 2020 are as follows. This means that these are the actual information regarding the what? The production of the company. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, there is quantity, price, and unit. Quantity, rate, and unit. Quantity, price, and cost per unit. Quantity, price, and cost per unit. They are very, very fundamental. You must understand it. That these 3 measurements are very, very important so that you know where to go, what are the information to pick where you are calculating the requirement. Then you also know that there is also for the direct labor, you have the quantity, the rate, and the cost per unit. The quantity, the rate, and the cost per unit. So in the area of variable overhead, you have it because you cannot determine the variable overhead without using variable overhead absorption rate. So that is why variable overhead has to be given in total cost. The same thing with fixed overhead is, look at it, it's given a what? In total cost, not in kg or rate or per unit. It has to be in total value. Total value. You must also know that if we are talking about variable overhead and fixed overhead questions, the question will give you the production quantity, the unit of production, the budgeted unit of production. The question will give you, and you also give you the actual production unit, the actual production unit, the budgeted production unit, the actual production, that is the total that the company produced in that period. You must also know that for you to calculate the variable overhead, you have to use the budgeted. It is the budgeted overhead divided by the budgeted, is it that divided by the what? The budgeted labor hour. Depends on the what? On the basis. If the basis is on the labor hour, or the basis on the direct material, or the basis on the prime cost, or the basis on the or the basis on the machine hour. It depends. But in this case, the question says production overhead is absorbed on the basis of direct labor hours. So that's going to be our basis. And look at this now. For variable overhead absorption rate is equal to budgeted variable overhead divided by budgeted labor hour. So you must know how to calculate that. Another tip is also that when the actual is higher than the standard, you have adverse. And when the standard is higher than the actual, you have favorable. You must also know that total variable overhead cost variance is when you are talking about the cost variance. That means you have to add up some variances. So in the case of variable overhead variance, you have to add up. There are 2 variances under variable overhead cost variance, total variable overhead cost variance. And that is what? Expenditure variance and the efficiency variance. Variable overhead expenditure variance and the variable overhead efficiency variance. You have to add it together. You minus it from each other, or you adjust it with each other, whichever. Okay. There is also, can also make confirmation. When you have arrived at your total variable overhead cost variance, you can confirm it by going variable overhead expenditure variance, the actual aspect of it. You pick it, look at it here. Variable overhead expenditure variance, the actual aspect of it. This is it. 33,600,000. Look at it here. And you also go to the what? To the variable overhead efficiency variance. You go to the standard aspect of it. Look at it. $39 million. Look at it. When you adjust it with each other, it gives you the same thing as total variable overhead cost variance. Look at it. It was 5,400,000. 5,400,000. Now, let's now go to the solution proper. The requirement of the questions required: compute 1. Variable overhead expenditure variance. Compute variable overhead expenditure variance. 2. Variable overhead efficiency variance. 3. Total variable overhead cost variance. One is what? Variable overhead expenditure variance. And the formula for it is what? Actual variable overhead. Actual variable, like I told you, when you're talking about overhead cost, it has to be in total value, and that is it. You don't need to what? To look for it, to calculate when you're talking about overhead. Except you want to use variable overhead absorption variance to calculate it. So, but in this formula, actual variable overhead is 33,600,000. Look at this in the question. 33 million. That is actual variable overhead. That is the what? Actual value of the variable overhead. You pick it, bring it here. That is the actual aspect of it, minus actual labor hour multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate. Variable overhead absorption rate. So what's our actual labor hour? Go to the question. Actual labor hour. Actual labor hour. This is it. Direct labor hour worked. This is, you go to the actual aspect of the question. Upper here is the budgeted aspect of the question. You go to the actual aspect of the question, and this is it. 96,000 hour. 96,000 hour. Costing $480 million. You're not talking about the total value here. You're talking about what? The hour. You pick it. Actual labor hour. And that is what we have here. Actual labor hour. 96,000 hour. Multiplied by a variable overhead absorption rate. How do you arrive at this? I've said it that there is a formula for it. Variable overhead absorption rate is what? Budgeted variable overhead divided by a budgeted labor hour. And what's our budgeted variable overhead? You go to the budget aspect. Both of them, you go to the budget aspect. And that is why I said, if you're talking about variable overhead or fixed overhead, there must be a budgeted production. Look at it. This is budgeted production. 144 units. This budgeted variable overhead is given direct. Look at it. 36. Variable overhead, $36 million. But how do you get the budgeted labor hour? For you to arrive at the budgeted labor hour, you must know how many units were produced in that period. Look at it. Budgeted production quantity for a given month. That is the period. For a given month, budgeted production quantity. I said for you to get the variable overhead absorption rate, you have to go to what? To the budgeted aspect of the question. Don't go to the actual. For the variable overhead absorption rate, because it is a predetermined rate. It's a predetermined rate. Right? So you go to the what? Budgeted aspect of the question, you get what? Budgeted variable overhead. And the budgeted labor hour, you must go to the budgeted aspect of the question also. How many units were predetermined to produce? They predetermined to produce 144 units. What is the standard hour? You go also to what? To the standard part of the question. Look at this. 30 minutes at $1,120 per hour, costing $960. So this is the standard hour. And what is the production? Predetermined production is what? Budgeted production quantity, 144,000 units. So this, you now multiply this, that is how many hours was used for one. So that is how you get it. You pick the standard labor hour. That is per unit. That means when the question say 30 minutes at 1,120 per hour, that is 30 minutes what? Per hour for 1 unit. So if they use 30 minutes for 1 unit, then how many are they going to use for what? For 144 units. That means you have to take this 30 minutes to what? 2 hours. That is 30 divided by 60. Give us what? 0.5. Multiply by what? That means for 1 unit is what? 0.5 hour. Multiply by 144 units. Give us what? 500,000. This divided by this give us 500,000. That is variable overhead absorption rate. Look at it. Multiply it together. It gives you standard. Standard. That is $48 million. You adjust with each other. The actual aspect minus what? The standard aspect. Give you the standard is higher than the what? And the actual, you have the variable. Is it 14,400,000? 2. Variable overhead efficiency variance. Variable overhead efficiency variance. The formula for it is what? Actual labor hour multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate. Which is this? I said in the first and second video that for this, just go to the, for material, go to the standard aspect of the material price variance. For the labor cost variance, you go to the what? You go to the standard aspect of what? Of the labor rate variance. In the variable overhead, you go to the what? To the variable overhead expenditure variance, the standard aspect of it. Look at it. Just pick it and put it here. Don't bother yourself. Pick it and put it here. From the variable overhead expenditure variance, the first formula under the variable overhead efficiency variance, just pick what? The standard aspect of the variable overhead expenditure variance and put it here. Or you can master the formula also by saying actual labor hour multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate. Normal working here is what we have here. And the working here, this is working 1. It has been shown here. Look at it here. This is it. Working 1. This is it. And that's why this WK1 is a working 1. The name of it is working 1. So you have your actual, which is what? 48 million. The same thing here. Look at it. Minus standard labor hour for production multiplied by variable overhead absorption rate. In this case, you go to the actual aspect of the question. Standard labor hour for actual production. For actual production. Standard labor hour. So what is the standard labor hour? The standard labor hour as given in the calculation of a budgeted in the variable overhead absorption rate. Look at it. The standard labor hour is 30 minutes. So to convert it to what? To an hour, that's 30 minutes divided by 60 minutes, giving us 0.5. And that is what you have here. 30 minutes divided by 60 giving us 0.5. What is the actual production? What is actual production? You go to the question. Actual production. Look at it. 156 million. You have the budgeted production. 144 million. Don't pick this. It is standard labor hour for actual production. This is it. Pick it. Put it here. So multiply 0.5. Divide 30 divided by 6, giving us 0.5. Multiply by 156. Multiply by the standard variable overhead absorption rate. Not standard though. Variable overhead absorption rate. So multiply it together. And you have what? 39 million. 39 million. So this is the actual, this is the standard. When you adjust it with each other, you have 9 million, 9 million. And the in this case, actual is higher than the what and the standard. You have the adverse. Look at it. So next one is what? Total variable overhead cost variance. Total variable overhead cost variance. And as I said in the tips, that for you to get the total variable overhead cost variance, you take the variable overhead expenditure variance minus variable overhead efficiency variance. Variable overhead expenditure variance, the answer, look at it. 14,400,000. 14,400,000. That is the answer for variable million. 14,400,000 for variable overhead expenditure variance. You pick it here. And the answer for variable overhead efficiency variance, this is it, 9 million. Look at it. One is favorable, one is adverse. One is favorable, one is adverse. So the favorable is higher than the adverse. Your answer is favorable. The meaning of it is that favorable is what is plus, while adverse is what is minus. Plus and minus. That means the company spend lesser. That is when you have favorable. And when the company spend higher, the company has what? Adverse. So when the companies spend lesser, so you deduct the one that is spent higher from it, you arrive at what? As you see, have what? Favorable. So the answer to what? Total variable cost, total variable overhead cost variance is what? Is 5,400,000. So you can confirm that, as I always do, in the material price, total material cost variance, and the labor cost variance. It is also applicable here also in the variable overhead variance. Look at it. The convention is that, like I always say, that you go to the variable overhead expenditure variance. Look at it. You pick the actual aspect of it. Look at it. That's confirmation. Pick the actual aspect of it. That is what I did in my first video of material price variance, material cost variance, and the labor cost variance. You go to the what? To the actual aspect of what? Of the first formula. So pick the actual aspect of it. This is what you have here. You go to the variable overhead efficiency variance also. Pick the standard. And that's 39 million. Look at it here. So adjust it with each other. Actual, standard. Standard is higher than the actual. You have favorable. Look at it. Favorable. 5,400,000. 5,400,000. Please subscribe to my channel by pressing the red button, and the thumb up button. That is to like the video. And share the video among your families and friends. Let the video go viral. Please support me for more production of this kind of video, because I want to continue to add value to millions of people with this. So support me by subscribing to my channel so that YouTube will be able to notify you whenever more of this is produced. Support me.